This is the Himiway Cruiser. I don't know if the bro who started this company originally meant to call it Hemingway and just had a little unfortunate mistake, but who knows? It's a weird name. It's an interesting bike. It's an e-bike. It is probably one of the most popular ones because whoever's running the marketing campaign, you've probably seen this all over social media, and people bought these online, sight unseen, which to me is amazing for something that's so personal, something you're going to ride on, something you're going to risk your life on, really. It is very well built. You can see the welds are very strong welds. They're not the typical spot welds you get in a factory. I think these are done by hand. I don't know that for a fact, but I mean, they look legit, and people who are into metallurgy have told me it's a decently built bike. It is pretty heavy. It's 70 to 72 pounds before you put accessories on it. So it's got some girth to it. I mean, this is no lightweight, all right? So it is well built. It's probably going to last. It says in the manual here that without any of the accessories that I've added on here, without the bike rack, and I think without the fenders and stuff, it says it's 72 pounds, but you keep adding on to that, you're probably going to end up with 80 pounds of stuff on here. You put your bag in here and your lights and whatever other accessories you're going to pop on here. Now, what's interesting about this is considered, well, it's considered pedal assist, but it also has a throttle. If I hit this throttle, the thing's going to take off. And that's what's really interesting, and it moves. The thing flies, all right? It's rated, it says in the book here, it'll go up to whatever the legal speed limit, I believe, is like 26 or 28 miles an hour. This says in the book it'll go 20 miles an hour. But according to the speedometer, and we followed it in our Jeep, had this baby up to about 27 miles per hour. That's throttle only with no pedal assist. That's pretty fast, all right? So you're definitely, if you do think about one of these things, I mean, you're moving at the speed of a moped or a scooter or another. It literally is a motorized vehicle. So this thing's going to take off. It's going to go on you, and the faster you go, the harder you fall. That's kind of how things go in this business. So definitely get yourself a really good helmet. I'm thinking a bike helmet may not be enough. You might want to get a 3/4 helmet or a full motorcycle helmet at these speeds, going this fast, especially if you're darting in and out of traffic. I have fallen on this thing, and the 72 plus pounds falling on top of you is not fun. I did some pretty bad damage to my shoulder. It was wet outside, and they say that these big it comes with the 4 big knobby wheels, all right? These are meant for all terrain, supposedly. But nothing's really meant for wet terrain. I fell on wet pavement. I was coming up on a ditch. I turned this front wheel a little bit. That was fine, but the back wheel slid out and the whole bike fell on top of me. I went down hard. I mean, you're probably going to fall just like on a bicycle. No different. Fortunately, I wasn't going fast, so it wasn't bad, but I did take up some pretty bad bruises. So you definitely want to protect yourself. I'm thinking even maybe a biker's jacket, and I wish I had gloves because I guess pretty gnarly scar on my thumb from that fall. I'm still not sure how that happened. Might have been from the brake or something, but things happen. That's the point, and protect yourself as you would on any scooter or motorized vehicle. Now, most of the laws here in our state say that any bicycle up to this, I think it's considered a class 3. Anything that goes up to like 26 or 28 miles an hour is considered a bicycle. So you can ride this in Florida on most sidewalks unless there's local ordinances that say you can't. So you can get all the benefit. You can ride it in the street if you want to, but you're allowed to ride these on most Florida sidewalks. That brings up a whole nother issue of safety. I mean, we're talking about interacting with pedestrians going up to 26, 27 miles an hour. It's a little scary. You know what I mean? So these are not for kids. You want to be a responsible adult riding these things, or just ride it in the street. But you have to pay attention to pedestrians, your surroundings, and when you hit somebody on a bicycle at 26 miles an hour, it's going to leave a mark. So you got to be super careful on these things. How about the build? I'm not crazy about spokes. I like a solid wheel, and the 2 other bikes I'm looking at have the solid rim. The spokes appear to have lasted so well, and supposedly this bike will hold up to 350 pounds, they tell me. That's total payload. That means the rider and whatever you're putting on the back of this thing. So it's got 26-inch wheels, the Ally front suspension. That's what's interesting too. There's no suspension on the front of this bike. I mean on the rear of the bike. So the front's got real nice suspension here. You can see it bounces. It kind of gives, and you can adjust that to whatever you want, but there's no rear suspension on this model here. So I've installed a seat that has suspension on it. So it's a really rough ride in the back. You're going over, especially if you're going off-road. You want to handle curbs, and there's bumps in the road. There's all kinds of craziness. So you're going to want to get yourself some rear suspension, and the only way you could really do that is in the seat post, which I've reviewed on one of my other channels. So you can do that, but that also raises it higher. So I'm just about 5'11", and you can see I've got this almost as low as it goes here. So if you're a short person, if you're 5'4", a girl 5'6", even a guy at 5'6", an average height person, this might be a little too big for you with the suspension post. So you're probably not going to be able to add suspension to the back, so you're going to have a rough ride. So I've replaced the seat. The seat that comes with it's not awful, but I wanted something with a little extra cushion because I didn't have the rear suspension, and that does matter. The new models do have rear suspension. This Cruiser does not. As a matter of fact, I think the other model, the other original Himiway model, does have rear suspension, but this one does not. Battery's pretty big. It does require a key to come off, but if you lose the key, it's no big deal. You just can't replace your battery. You can charge it with a little doodad that's on here. So you just pop this guy off here, this little rubber thing, and it's kind of a good seal, and you charge it right while it's on the bike. If you do have the key, you can take it off, pop the battery off, and charge it upstairs or wherever you want. As far as the battery life goes, it says here with pedal assist, you can do 35 to 60 miles on a ride. I don't know if that's accurate. I haven't really gone over like 15 miles in a single ride. I guess some people who use these as a substitute for your car, if you're going to work, you may need to go that far, but in a city, you're probably not going to go that far if you're riding this in a city or an urban area. Maybe out in the boondocks, you might need to go 20, 40 miles on a round trip. But if you ride it to work one way, it's 20 miles, you charge it at work, and you bring it back, you're good to go. You charge it each way. So if you're there for 8 hours, that is cool. All right, so let's take a look at the controls. It is a pretty svelte looking bike. I did black out the Himiway because they're not paying me for this. I'm not advertising somebody unless they're sending me a paycheck, right? So these are the controls here. You can see that you can control it with this bad boy. Right now it's on pedal assist level 1. I can change that by hitting the little button up. Pedal assist means the more juice it's going to give the bike when you start pedaling. So it's got 7 levels of pedal assist. I'm going to back it all the way down to 1. 1's going to get you up to about 15 miles an hour while you're pedaling the bicycle. It's about 15 miles. You can say I have 170 miles on this thing so far. So I bought it used because it takes forever to ship from China or wherever they're shipping from. I heard people waited like 6 months for these bikes. It's insane. Other people, if you get them while they're in stock, I understand you can get them in a couple of weeks, but I don't like to wait. So I bought it used. An older couple, they tried it out, didn't really like it. They want something smaller. But that is definitely a consideration for this. And then you hit the throttle on this, you can use this throttle only. The thing I need to tell people about these things, whenever I take people for a test ride, because I am selling this bike, as soon as you hit that pedal, the pedal assist is going to kick in and it's going to start to move forward, whether you intend to go forward or not. I mean, there's a little bit of a give here, but as soon as, if I were to tap on that pedal right now, the bike would start to move forward and inch up to about, well, it would probably go up to 15 miles an hour. It'd want to go up to 15 miles an hour. Now you can ride this thing with throttle only. If I hit the throttle right here, it's going to start going without any pedaling whatsoever. So I don't know how that works into the classes in these things. I think technically it's a whole class in itself if you just have throttle with no pedal assist. I cannot find the specification for throttle only in the electric bike categories or classes, but they consider it, I think, a class 3. Again, this thing kicks. If you kick this bad boy into pedal assist 7 and you start pedaling, you're going to move. You're going to hit up to 24, 25, 26 miles an hour, even in the wind, even up some hills. But that's the bonus of these things. You know, you can actually, if you get tired, you pedal for a little bit, and then you just kick in the pedal assist, or you can go full throttle too if you get really tired. So I'm going to turn it off because it scares me. You can hold this button on. And I'm always afraid of it taking off. Now, it hasn't done that on me, and I was able to, actually, let's try it. Let's move the pedals a little bit and see if it starts moving in pedal assist 1. I'm going to lift the back end a little bit. And let's see if it starts taking off on its own. I actually haven't tried this yet, so I'm going to lift it up and I'm going to inch the pedal forward a little bit. We don't have much of a pedal assist there, so you really got to kick it forward, so that is a good thing. Really hefty kickstand, which you really need a heavy-duty kickstand to hold a bike of this weight, so that is very helpful. And again, it's a very nice build. I think most of them come with this rack, and it's got like a bamboo thing. Most people put bags on top of it. You can hold a nice cold drink or something. Sorry about all the noise. They're doing construction like crazy back here. But it's a decent bike. It's going to move, and if you're a hefty guy up to 350 pounds, I think you're going to enjoy this. If you're a shorter person, it's probably a little too big. If you're a smaller frame woman, you probably don't want to do this because it's going to be too tall and too heavy. There are some other models that are a little bit lighter and a little bit smaller, including the step-throughs. Like this is like kind of awkward to get your leg over if you're a little older. A lot of people prefer the step-throughs because they don't have this bar here. So they do have a couple. The Himiway company actually has a couple models that do that, and you can just put your legs through a lot easier. Most people replace the seats. They put something more cushy on there, and there's a ton of accessories. You can see I've got mirrors on here. I've got really cool phone holders in the bag to carry your stuff, especially if you're going to work. You should go to a picnic on these things. Now, it is a nice ride. I mean, if you keep it reasonable and you're on dry roads and you're on paved roads, you're really not going to have a problem. This thing's going to get you there. It's going to get you there fast, and it's get you there without exerting a lot of energy. And if your battery does wear out, it doesn't matter because it's a bicycle. You can pedal it. I mean, it's a heavy bicycle. It's going to require a little bit more effort, but you're going to be able to pedal yourself out of trouble if your battery does fail or die or just stops working. Actually, the computers on these things once in a while will hang up. Like, it'll still work. The throttle will work and everything, but my display froze up once or twice. And I had to unplug it and then plug it back in, kind of a reboot to reset itself. And that happens with all these things, no matter the maker manufacturer. Essentially, these things are run by computers. So you're going to have those potential issues once in a while. No big deal. You can just reboot it and you're good to go. And I haven't had any major problems with it. I've had this thing I put about 100 miles on this thing. Rode it all around the city. We're in a fairly suburban area. Not a lot of traffic, and we have great bike trails here. But it's a fun bike to ride. It's going to go really, really fast. But again, probably want to avoid wet roads, slippery stuff, and unless you're really, really in shape and you've done a lot of mountain bike riding, you probably want to avoid the off-road stuff unless that is your thing. And definitely wear a bunch of protection. Again, at these speeds, you have to be really careful because you only get one body, and you don't want to ruin it. All right, that's the Himiway Cruiser. We'll take a look at the Escape next. So make sure you like and subscribe. And also, we're going to look at 5 other models in the next couple of weeks. 5 different bikes by different manufacturers. We'll talk about some similarities and some pros and cons of each of them. Fresh out. We'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.